street, 919fm.com. Here's what's happening.
Good afternoon. I am Vanessa Thomas with the 12 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. In the headlines, the government and the opposition clash on the management of COVID-19. Licensing division launches new mobile bus service. Internationally, Turkey battles inflation crisis after currency value plummets. And now the news in detail.
The COVID-19 death.
Temporary UNC Senator Dr. Tim Gopi Singh has criticized government's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying they were being advised by inexperienced medical professionals. He blames the COVID deaths of over 1,600 Trimbigonians on the government.
The COVID-19 deaths of over 1,600 citizens rest squarely on the hands of the Minister of Health, the Honorable Prime Minister, and the seriously clinically inexperienced medical advisors.
Dr. Tim Gopi Singh was reintroduced to the Parliament after being sworn in as a temporary senator on Tuesday. He wasted no time during the budget debate to criticize the government's management of the COVID pandemic, particularly the three main advisors to the government, Dr. Roshan Parasram, Dr. Avery Hines, and Dr. Miriam Abdul-Richards. However, PNM Senator Dr. Mohammed Yunus Abraham lashed into Dr. Gopi Singh's criticism.
You may have taught them, but I studied with all three of them. And I can attribute the caliber, the competence.
Dr. Gopi Singh was also critical of the parallel healthcare system, which he said was not working.
You hear every day, Mr. Vice President, a parallel health system, parallel health system. But you do not really have a parallel health system in this country. It is not efficient, it is not functioning properly.
Last year, Dr. Gopi Singh contracted the COVID-19 virus, and back then he praised the same healthcare system. He was soon reminded of this by Dr. Abraham, who defended government's management of the COVID-19 pandemic.
What I really remember the most was your then commendation, praise, and also gratitude for the same parallel healthcare system that you took to town.
Dr. Abraham also defended government's stance on only using WHO-approved vaccines to treat COVID-19, despite calls from the opposition to do so.
It is just not WHO recognized and approved. We cannot do this to our nations and our citizenry, and they are not guinea pigs.
In other news, members of the public can now have their driver's permit renewed in under 10 minutes, thanks to the licensing division's new mobile bus service. The two new mobile stations located at the Caroni licensing office are meant to be a one-stop shop for drivers who need to renew their license. The new buses have been outfitted with the technology to serve members of the public in a timely manner. Electronic Processing Officer at the Licensing Division, Christian Griffith, says the process is quick and easy.
After you come to me for the transaction, you'll go to the typist to ensure that everything is okay with the permit. And then you'll come in to take a photo and pay. So the transaction is really easier, faster than coming into the office to do a renewal.
Meanwhile, the Works and Transport Minister said he hopes by December the buses could go to remote areas to offer full services.
But we will have these roving buses will go to the rural areas at least once or twice for the month on an appointment basis, where the residents there can have almost all their transactions, from renewal of permits, taxi badge, certified copies, you name it, can be done on these buses. One of the buses will also be visiting Tobago.
Also, Transport Commissioner Clive Clark noted that drivers must make an appointment to access the services, as the information will be sent to the Caroni office.
And why you have to check in? Because we are tying our systems together. In other words, your permit will not print unless you come through a particular process. So the idea with persons getting permit through they know somebody and that sort of thing, our aim is to put an end to that foolishness.
Meanwhile, one individual who used the service had praises for the system.
Usually when you go to the license office, you have to line up and wait for different things to happen. But today was just like a 1 to 3 process. Everything was done quickly and professionally.
The Transport Minister made mention that the 2 new stations can currently service at least 50 people per day and that Links is the only payment option available. Each bus costs taxpayers a total of $700,000. International news now. Turkey is battling Europe's highest inflation rate of more than 19%. The Turkish lira has lost nearly 60% of its value against the US dollar in the past 3 years. And as Al Jazeera reports from Istanbul, it means people are struggling to make ends meet.
The tomato is an essential ingredient in most Turkish cuisine, and it's now selling at a record price, a rise of 70% in only 1 year. And in this traditional farmers market in the middle-class district of Bahçelievler in Istanbul, shoppers are feeling the pinch.
Awful. It's expensive in the supermarkets too, but pensions stay the same.
Some people here blame the government for lacking effective economic policies. Others say tradesmen and the wholesalers are taking advantage.
No conscience left in their hearts. They want to earn easy money.
This man says he's paying 40% more for flour than he did 3 months ago. And as his customers' incomes don't change, he can't raise the price. So the portions of Turkish filo dough he sells now weigh 110 grams instead of the standard 150 grams. At more than 19%, Turkey has the highest inflation rate in Europe and the 10th highest in the world.
For many in Turkey, it's the season to conserve food for winter, and they buy supplies in farmers' markets like this one. But this year, the soaring prices are eating into their incomes.
The devaluation of the Turkish currency is seen as a major driver for this high inflation. The lira has lost 60% of its value in the last 3 years and 23% this year alone. But critics say despite that, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has taken an unconventional approach and prioritized cutting interest rates. And each reduction knocks the lira down even further.
The government doesn't prefer a high exchange rate, but it aims to stimulate the economy and give easy access for finance to increase exports and employment.
By pushing for lower interest rates, some analysts in Turkey believe Erdogan's primary concern is political, to prevent his voter base from eroding. And it's a tool, they say, is used to smooth diplomatic fallouts, such as when Turkish authorities arrested and convicted American pastor Andrew Brunson on terror charges and later released him.
After the diplomatic crisis in 2018, the government was forced to increase the interest rate to stop the lira's fall. Then with a new central bank governor, they had premature rate cuts, which caused a credit balloon and high inflation.
The level of risk investors face in Turkey is about 3 times higher than that of its closest peer countries, according to some financial agencies. And that's led to many pulling out, significantly limiting the inflow of foreign cash.
And that was the 12 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines, the government and the opposition clash on the management of COVID-19. Licensing division launches new mobile bus service, and internationally Turkey battles inflation crisis after currency value plummets. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas.
News from the street. News from the street. 919fm.com. Broadcasting from Trinidad to the world. The street 919fm.com.
What child is this who came to earth through Mary was born of a virgin? Child is this, the Son of Man, from heaven was sent with his plans. Sweet silver bells, Christmas is here bringing good cheer. What child is this who lay to rest on Mary? sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch o'er keeping. Oh, this is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. Christmas is here, bringing the cheer to young and old. Oh, how they come praising the sound with songs of good cheer. Merry, 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 merry Christmas, Christmas is here. Christmas is here. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh. Come, peasant king, to own him. The King of Kings, salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone him. He is King of Kings. This child is Lord of Lords. He is Christ the King, bringing the cheer, and they will sing Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Oh, the bells, sweet silver bells, Christmas is here, bringing good cheer. Oh, how the bells, sweet silver bells, hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, Christmas is here, bringing good cheer. Sweet silver bells, sweet silver bells. Sweet silver bells, Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to the young and what child is this who came to earth? Such a gift from above. What child is this who lay to rest on Mary's land? He is the King. He is King, King of Kings, and He's Lord of Lords. He is King, King of Kings, and Lord of Lords. He is King, King of Kings, and He's Lord over all that you see. We love Lord of Lords. He is my everything. King of Kings, oh King of Lords, Lord of Lords, and I love Him with all of my heart and my soul.
To the people, them, say we gon' make it. Put your trust in the Most High, the Most High. Well, wow. Zuma Benjamin Yashirala. We're gonna make it one day, someday. All my praises be to the Most High. We're gonna make it one day, someday. Righteous good man, keep standing strong. When the going gets tough, then the tough gets going. I pray we will make it, cause the battle that we're facing, dread and terrible, my brethren. And when the pocket them low, I know, seems like there's no way getting out. Just put your trust in the Most High, He will give you more. Numbers 6 verse 24. We're gonna make it one day, some way. All my praises be to the Most High One. We're gonna make it one day, someday. Righteous good man, keep standing strong. Well, let me tell you this, the love of man already waxed cold in these last days. Would you see your brother hungry, charity's gonna lengthen your days. Let's come together to the children of Israel. You're the salt and the light of this earth. Though the world is cold, they can't touch your soul. We're gonna make it one day, somewhere. All my praises be to the Most High One. We're gonna make it one day, someday. Righteous good man, keep standing strong. Now when the bills pile up, oh gosh, tell me we gon' make it. And when the system lock down, oh gosh, tell me we gon' make it. I know the battle is hard. Tell me we gon' make it. I put your